Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to be speaking about Cardano. And is Cardano actually finished being on the bottom end? Well, let's get into that today. So welcome. If you haven't already, do subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell for all the next notifications that we're going to have in cryptocurrency news. All right, so for the past couple of months, Cardano has been doing terrible. It has actually been doing so bad that a lot of people are sitting in the room and crying, right? Well, now could be the time that it's actually going to really fix that and start to make some profits coming up here potentially in the next couple of months. It's still going to be a long way. It's still kind of, I've told you this before in previous videos, that Cardano is actually kind of going to take a little bit of time to come up, but we have some good news. All right, let's take a look at the timeline first, right? So looking at the timeline, when we're speaking about this section, right? So back in September, this is really when we had those telltale signs that it was going to kind of be a little iffy, right? So that was actually, if I'm not mistaken, that was going right after that smart contract launch. And so we took some profits, right? So after it kind of fell, and this is about where we kind of capped off at that, right about 261, right? After that, of course, it just kind of plummeted. It just fell, and it honestly broke our hearts, right? Well, that's not the topic necessarily. That's just kind of giving you the history of what's going on. Now, as for the past couple of days, when we're looking at Cardano, it's actually starting to make that movement. So it looks like it actually hit the bottom end here, and it is making a reversal. So everybody that was kind of like panicking out on Cardano and selling, well, it looks like that finished and is starting to buy back in. The 27th of November, it made that little news, and then of course the 28th and the 29th we had some more, so that wonderful green candle kind of coming up. Now it did, as of yesterday, for example, it did look pretty bad, right? So we had that red candle again, but it's kind of coming back as of today, so it's kind of buying back into that, so it's looking pretty good. So Cardano is showing this telltale signs. Now it could come up around, I would say, probably around $2 again here pretty soon. Here in, I would say, in the next week, 2 weeks. That's how it looks like for me. But between $1.90 or so, potentially, as long as we just don't go any further again. Of course, Cardano is kind of hard to tell right now because we're just now looking at it, but it is looking a little bit better. This is a much better sign to have, because we haven't had this kind of pattern in quite some time. Actually, the last pattern we had was right before it actually started falling, back at the beginning of November. We had this, so that was a big thing for us. Now, I know probably most people are going to say, well, then it kind of dropped, right? Well, not necessarily here, but you have to think about how many people are actually jumping ship during this time, and only so many people that are really kind of worried about this, or as far as like going into a full-blown panic, will have this. So this is what's going on as far as Cardano goes for the daily. So it's looking much better. When we're looking at the week for Cardano, it doesn't look so hot, but it doesn't look so bad either, right? So that's a good thing. So it's not a big bleed out. So it's kind of going to give us a much better thing here in the next couple of days. I think in the next day or two, we're really going to be able to tell more how it's going to react and how it's going to jump, right? So about 2 more days, as long as we have some more green candles coming up, I would expect it to start really making it a climb back up to the top. Hopefully we can be up by $5 probably, and I'm hoping around February or so. I would expect February, March, it could potentially do this once we get past this crypto winter, which has everybody in a full panic. All right, Bitcoin. Speaking of Bitcoin, so Bitcoin, it did hit right that low 57. It hit that low about 53, 54, right? That was pretty bad. So we kind of call that too, but it is now back up at 57,000. So it's doing all right, right? So it's not too terribly bad, but it still kind of has that downward angle of a movement. So we definitely want to watch out for that. So that is a plus. That is it's kind of making that wave back up. So that's what we want to see. So we kind of looks like we might be bouncing back up from what, like 50, 53, 54. So hopefully it'll go back up too. Of course, we all want 100, 200K for Bitcoin, but time will tell for that as well. Now, for the weekly for Bitcoin, Bitcoin's still in the red, just like Cardano. Nothing really changed there. It's honestly, everybody's kind of following suit. And again, it's coming back after the Omicron variant of coronavirus. Everybody's freaking out. Everybody's completely selling off, thinking, oh my God, the market's going to crash. Well, that's kind of what's going on. When we compare the weekly to Ethereum, for example, right? So Ethereum, of course, Ethereum looks much better, right? Completely the opposite of Bitcoin, which is really good. So Ethereum can kind of really make a point to go even higher, right? And I believe that's going to happen too. Of course, we had that drop, and everybody really did freak out over Ethereum, right? So it's still altcoin season, I believe, and we're going to see some more of that here in the next couple of days to come, especially with the next week or so. Speaking of Ethereum, Ethereum is doing great. It's starting to rally. It's actually very, very bullish right now. So it has a nice, good rally going on. And I would expect it to even get better. So especially after these couple of days, right? The past week or so, I kind of had that sideways moving, which everybody was freaking out. So right, like a dump, a buy-in, a dump, or a buy-in, dump. So it's kind of going back and forth on that matter. But honestly, in the past couple of days, it's just been killing it. So it's going back up. So it's doing pretty well as well. So, looking at Solana, Solana's following suit as well. It's actually also has another bullish run going on. Several days into the matter, doing fantastic. So as long as we stay in this kind of pattern, I think we're going to make some really good cash, and that's probably one, right? Let's take a look at the market. Looking at the market, Bitcoin for the 24-hour period, not quite 1%, but 0.97 in the green. The 7-day weekly, it is at 0.90, so like kind of in between, breaking even here. Ethereum also doing very, very good. Ethereum's at 7.64 for the 24-hour, 11% in the green on the weekly. Binance is in the green by 3.53%, and 7-day is 8.22, also killing it. So it looks very, very good. Solana is at 8.03% for the 24-hour and 0.34 in the green for the weekly, so also fantastic. Now, the 24-hour period for Cardano is at 2.55% and minus 5.42 for the week. XRP is also doing pretty good as well, and Shiba is also doing very good for the weekly. Let's take a look at Shiba, 17.90% for the 7-day weekly. And as far as the 24-hour period, at 2.85%, so still pretty good. Polkadot also is doing pretty good, 5.84 for the 24-hour. XRP is in the plus for the daily at 3.08. So it's doing really good. So we're definitely going to pay attention to the next couple of days to really see who is going to really make this markup here, right? So December's right around the corner. No, it's actually December now, but Christmas is coming up. January, February is going to be a good time to make some money. So if you haven't already, do subscribe, hit the bell, follow us for all the latest updates, and we'll have some awesome news for you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll catch you next time, and don't forget to drop a comment.